In this tutorial we are discussing about second part of input statements. Okay, in this we are discussing about the second part of input statements. Like in the previous video we discussed about input function, right? Okay, we discussed about input function. What we discussed, okay, with that input function we can take the input from the user. Okay, till now whatever the code we have written, we written by hard coding the input in the program, but from now onwards we will take the input from the user, and from that input we will process the output, and then we will produce the output to the user. So in this way, what is the main advantage is, like no, like our code will be dynamic. Okay, every time it won't be run, okay, it won't be running for the same input. Okay, it can run for different inputs. So in real time it's always preferable to take the input from the user rather than taking input from the code directly. Okay, so now in this tutorial we will see a program in which we can have the better understanding of the, okay, we can have the better understanding of this input function in Python. Okay, let us go to IDLE, and here we will try to write a code. Okay, now I'm writing a Python program to take the employee details from the user. Okay, so whatever the employee data that is getting, okay, that is entered by the user, I want to just print all those details on the console. So how to do that? That functionality I'm writing in this code now. Okay, now for employees, okay, for all employees definitely they will be containing one ID. So employee ID is one, okay, one of the detail of the employee. So employee ID. So in general employee ID, most of the times it will be an integer. Okay, it will be an integer. So we want to convert this input function to integer. So enter employee ID. Okay, since employee ID is an integer, and I already told you in the previous tutorial that input function will always take the inputs only in a string format. Okay, input function will always take the input in a string format. So it's, being a programmer, it is our responsibility to convert the input to the required format. Okay, so now I want employee ID as an integer, so I'm converting this input to integer. So I have to use this int function to convert the integer. Now every employee definitely have a name. Okay, so a name, for name again I'm taking the input. Okay, but here for name I want to remove this int function, because name cannot be an integer. Name is always a string. Okay, now again employee gender. Okay, next input I am taking is nothing but employee gender. So employee gender is what? Either male or female. Okay, either male or female. Most of the cases, like 98% of the cases, it is either male or female. So let us consider those scenarios only. Okay, of course these days we have the third gender called transgender, but now I'm not going into that scenario. Okay, now I'm thinking that gender is either male or female. Let us try to code how we can take the gender from the user. Okay, now if bool of input of enter employee gender. Okay, so if he enters true, then it is male. If he enters false, then obviously it will go to the else part, and it will give the output as female. Okay, so here what concept I have implemented? I have implemented the concept called ternary operator. I already covered this ternary operator in our previous chapter called operators. Okay, I hope all of you understand this line. Now next thing is employee address. Employee address is always string only. So input of enter employee address. Okay, enter employee address. So I'm entering the employee address here. Now next will be employee mobile number. Okay, employee mobile number. Mobile number is always an integer. Okay, a mobile number is always an integer, so I'm taking it as an input of Okay, enter employee mobile number. Okay, enter employee mobile number. So I'm taking the mobile number from the user. Now after name we have employee salary. Okay, employee salary is something like employee salary. Okay, in general salary is always considered as, in general salary is always considered as a floating point, because here in salary even decimal point also matters. Okay, even decimal point also matters. So for that reason I'm converting this salary into floating point. Okay, float of input of, okay, and the employee salary. Okay, enter employee salary. Now see, till here what I did, I have taken the input from the user. Okay, see, as of now I took the input from the user, but before we used to take the input, I mean we used to hard code the input in the code. Now we are taking from the user because it is better. Okay, taking the input from the user is always better than hard coding in the code. Okay, now let us print the data types. Okay, so we are converting our data into different data types based on based on their properties, right? Now let us see whether they are converting properly or not. Okay, so in that way, to check the data type we have the function called as type of. So let us check the type of all these things. So employee id, so as of now this should be integer. Okay, because I converted this to integer. So let us see whether it is converting or not. So now all of, okay, now for all these things we will print the data types. Okay, so employee id, then employee name, employee salary, employee gender, employee address, employee mobile number. So mobile number is integer. Okay, address is a string, gender should be boolean. Okay, now salary should be floating point number, that means number which contains decimal point. So let us see whether data is coming with this particular data types what I mentioned or not. Okay, first let us see the data type, then we will focus on printing this data on the console. Okay, now let me run and show you. Okay, yeah, so employee id is something like 100 I took. Okay, why it is showing again employee id? Oh, sorry, I have to take employee name. Okay, employee id is 100 I took, employee name is something like Nehant I took, and employee salary is something like 25,000.45 paisa I took. Employee gender I took as a true. If it is true then it is male, if it is false then it is female. I took like that. And employee address is something like Hyderabad, so like this. And employee mobile number is something mobile number. Okay, some random mobile number I took. So this is my data. So now if I press enter, see, for employee id gender, okay, data type is int, and for employee name data type is a string. For employee salary, okay, data type is float. For employee gender it is string. Okay, actually why it is string is because after that I'm converting it to string, so it is coming as string. Okay, now employee address, okay, employee address is what Hyderabad I took, so it is string. And employee mobile number I took it as integer, so it is coming as an int. Okay, so in this way, okay, as of now, okay, in our previous tutorial what we discussed that every input from the input function will be a string only. Now with this, okay, with the help of this we can say that we it's being a programmer, it is our responsibility to convert all the data types into our required format. Okay, now in this way we convert our data types. Now next thing which we want to do here is I want to print all the data also. So in that case, employee id is e underscore id. Let me print all these details. Okay, employee name, employee salary is, okay, employee gender is, employee address is, okay, employee phone number is, okay, employee mobile number, employee address, employee gender, next thing is employee salary, next thing is employee name. So in this way what I did here, I printed, okay, I'm printing all these inputs on the console. Okay, I'm printing all these inputs as outputs on the console. So let me do that. So employee id is what? So let me add one more print statement for the differentiation. Okay, yeah. So now my employee id is something like 100 and employee name is something called as Nehant, and employee salary is 12,378 paise. Okay, the employee gender is true, I am keeping because it is male, and employee address I am keeping as Bangalore. Mobile number I am keeping it as something, some random mobile number I have taken, something like this. Okay, now see, I have printed all this data, okay, all this data on the console. So in this way we can take the input from the user. Okay, in this way we can take the input from the user by using the input function, and after taking the input from the user, we have to convert into our required data types, and we can use it. Okay, we can use it for the further processing of this data. Okay, I hope all of you understand. Okay, now you understood better about this input function. Now I want to cover something here that is nothing but eval function. Okay, I want to cover some function called as eval function in this. Okay, eval function is nothing but, the name itself is indicating, right? Eval is nothing but evaluation. Okay, evaluation what it will do means, evaluation will take anything as a string. Okay, evaluation will take a string as an input, and it will evaluate into a particular expression. Okay, whatever the data we took, it will convert it into native data automatically, and it will give, okay, it will provide that data to the Python code. Okay, so let us explain how this will work with one small example. Then I will write this eval function in the program, and I will tell you. Okay, now I'm using this eval function, and inside that I'm writing one expression. So in this string I'm writing some expression called 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50. Okay, so what I have did here, I have taken a expression. So the eval function has that capability to convert an expression into into the desired data. See, it is an expression. So but our eval function evaluated all this into a particular data and calculated the output like this. Okay, so in this way eval function will work. Now let us see how we can implement this eval function in Python code. Okay, so how can we implement eval function in Python code is like this. So any data, so in the previous approach, okay, in this current approach what I have discussed, the problem is first we should know which data. Okay, we should know our data is our data belongs to which data type, then only we need to convert. But if we have this eval function, okay, for everything we can give this eval function. Okay, for everything we can give this eval function. Okay, eval function has the capability to convert. It can convert into, okay, it can convert into our desired data type by default. Okay, we no need to worry about which data type it will come. Okay, it will take any data and it can convert into any other data in the required format. So let us see how this is working. So employee ID, again let me give you the same input which I have given above. So name I am giving something called as Nehant, and salary I am giving 21,056 paise. Gender is true, I am giving as male. Address is something I am giving as Pune. Okay, mobile number I am giving as something random number I am giving. Okay, like this I am giving. See, before it was taken like int string float string string int, int string float string string int. So now same thing. Okay, now same thing I can do. Okay, whatever the things I have did by using these different functions. Okay, different data type functions, same thing I can be doable. Okay, same thing can be doable with just eval functions. Okay, so in that way eval function has that capability to convert any data type. Okay, any data type to its native data type. Okay, basing on the data it has the capability to convert into its particular data type, and it will give to the Python code. Okay, so it will convert and it will give to the Python code. So that can be, okay, that we can use it for further processing. Okay, in this case we are just printing, but in some other cases, okay, in some other scenarios we might be processing, or we might be applying some business logic on this data, but for now I'm just printing. Okay, so with the data, with this eval function, we can get our exact data and we can use it for further processing. I hope all of you understand this both input function and eval function also. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye.